a second here. What? This is Weasel News live from California State City Hall, where future Mayor John Reagan gives us a scoop on what's to come in the upcoming election. As you can see, it's almost evening time. We're going to jump right to morning here. Mr. Reagan, what are your plans to do with the state if you're elected mayor?
Well, citizens of Los Angeles, my plans if I'm elected mayor are to be harder on crime, get drugs out of this city as best as I can, put in laws that will protect the city, and hopefully get a stronger police force, and a better firefighting force to help the city out as well.
Alrighty. What are your plans to deal with the gang and the drug crime that's been happening these past couple of months, where a lot of the deaths and the violence have a lot to do with the drug trade here in the city?
My plan, once I get elected, is to meet with the commissioner of the California Highway Patrol, the chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, and the sheriff of the sheriff's of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office, and basically make a tripartisan, if you will, gang task force, which its sole job is to crack down on gang activity in the area of mainly Compton, in that area.
Aside from street gangs aside, do you think that the quote-unquote motorcycle enthusiasts are part of the drug trade problem, or could they be somewhat of the solution, given that their antics are mostly just them riding around, or in this case, eradicating the city of a lot of the potential problems? Could they be an asset or an ally to the problem?
They can most certainly be an ally to the problem. The problem is that in what seems to be going on is, once these motorcycle clubs started riding down to Compton, started riding down to areas where gangs were high, that's when gang activity really sparked and crime rates went higher. So they can be an ally, and I understand that Mr. Teller, who is the leader of the Sons of Anarchy, has been a very great ally to the police force here and to the mayor's office, but I think his time of shining in the spotlight is coming to an end in this city.
I think most can agree with that. In a retrospective era, do you think that the appearances of the motorcycle club, the Sons of Anarchy's appearance in Compton, is either the violence retorting to a territorial aspect, or is it just simply because they're provoking the problem, or is it just their presence alone that's just causing the other gangs to intensify their violence in the central part of Los Angeles?
Well, see, what I think about that is that, like I said, once the motorcycle clubs did go down into the Compton area, that's when the gangs started to spark. We didn't see gang activity like that before they started going down there, before they were up in San Bernardino and in northern Hollywood, up there where their clubhouse is currently. I think, like I said, they are the instigators of the problem of gang activity, and that their spotlight will soon be crushed, as well as the gang activity spotlight that has been hurting this city for many months now.
I think we all could agree on that aspect, Mr. Reagan. But I know a lot of us here in the West Coast have been suffering a lot from the depression that's been going on with the economy and the unstable economy. Do you plan on possibly releasing a citywide stimulus package?
That could be in the works, but you see, the thing, Los Angeles, most of its income come from the tourist industry, right? So when these terrorist attacks, these gang attacks, these crime rates started going up, we've lost a lot of tourism, which is a lot of money out of the government's pocket and their own pockets. So there's definite short answer is there's definitely a stimulus package in the works.
I think we could all agree as well is that a lot of the charitable events, in an example, Mr. Teller's been doing a lot of music related course of action in the city to where most of the money he makes from that goes directly into the city funds towards construction and of course shelters for homeless and towards children's hospitals. Is that in way helpful to the cause here in the city of LA?
It it is since Mr. Teller has been doing these charitable events, tourism has definitely boosted. People love to see his music. I like his music personally, and I think it will help the cause if he keeps doing them. But as well as we crack down on crime, that will also help the cause. But he has definitely helped the cause economically in this city in the past few weeks and months.
Do you think if we did more charitable events as a whole, as a city, to promote um, gun safety and, of course, acts against city violence and violence against our citizens, you think that would bring more tourism to the city if you were to be elected and have a Republican in office versus a Democratic ticket?
I think so. I really do.
And I think the big question that everybody's waiting to listen to on is what are your thoughts of the acts of terrorism that have happened in the recent months, the explosion outside of the downtown police station, which caused the death of a state trooper, and of course um, the extensive damage done to the recently built High Mile Club that Teller Construction has spent the last 5 years building. How are we going to approach this going forward? Like, what are we going to use as far as a security measure?
Security. Security for terrorism is obviously the National Guard and the military. I will most certainly have them on speed dial. And obviously, these terrorist acts are horrible to this city. They are one of the number one causes in why tourism is down in this city and why no one is feeling safe in this city anymore. And I think if we can find the source of these terroristic groups and we can get rid of them, that will help. But obviously, this is also on the federal level. We have not had as much federal agencies come in here and try to help as I would have liked to see. I mean, we did have the FBI and the who
ATF.
else? ATF in here for a little bit, but obviously they weren't in here long enough to find the exact center of these terroristic organizations.
I guess another big question that's raised by citizens is the concern for officer safety. In the last week, we lost Chief David to a shootout with a suspect, as well as the wounding of Commissioner Moore and the um, detective Leon McCabe, who's laying in Mount Zona Hospital in a medically induced coma for the last 3 weeks. How do we approach the violence towards our fellow officers out on the street to make ensure that the safety on them is maintained at all times?
Police officer safety is one of my number one concerns. I I want to help these guys very muchly because if we want to crack down on crime, we need to help them first. I want to get new equipment, new updated equipment, the newest equipment we can get for them to try to help and limit the amount of injuries they get in shootings per se.
Are there any news? Is there any news on the former commissioner who's laid up at the moment?
I have no news from anybody at this moment. Um, I do understand that the sheriff's office is getting a little bit closer to finding out who it is, but obviously the new sheriff is not doing the best he can at investigating this, and I think them kind of leaving the state, the sorry, high, oh shit, sorry, the CHP out in the LAPD out at this investigation, kind of pushing them aside so they can do their own is a little biased and a little he wants to take credit for if they find this guy.
And the last big question that everyone beckons: who and what is Red Dawn?
Right now, I'm classifying Red Dawn as a terroristic organization, and that once I'm in office, I will hopefully meet with the governor, who will meet with someone in Washington to help us get some help over here, military and National Guard wise. This is a problem which cannot keep going on, and if Red Dawn is listening, you're about to feel the power of the actual Red Party fall on you.
Oops. Thank you much, Mr. Reagan. This has been Weasel News with Eric Harris. More as the story develops in the upcoming future.